Yo guys, it's Haunting Lime and welcome back to my channel. And again, thank you for the continued support. I'm bringing a double dark team today in the form of Scrafty and Umbreon. So this is a team popularized, I think, by Vergyverg recently. He's done really well with it, exceptionally well. So this is a team that actually was created by him, and I've used it, and you know what? It's super strong, it's super reliable, and you know what? It's really forgiving as well. So as you can see, my Pokemon are ranked fairly high. The trick with the Hypno is to actually use Focus Blast instead of Shadow Ball or Double Punch and Scrafty. But guys, if you anything, please subscribe, click the bell notification, also like the video. It really helps out. And guys, thank you for your support. All right, while the game goes on, I'll just kind of talk about the creator of the team. So the person who made the team was actually Zyonik, you know, really good content creator. And then recently Vergyverg's been using it to kind of climb up in the first half of the season, and he's done really well. And now this team actually is stronger with the recent changes in the meta, with the slight Altari nerf and the Sky Attack nerf. So this is pre nerfs, but yeah, this team is really forgiving, really good, really strong. I really liked it. So onto the game. As you can see, I had a pretty decent lead. Hypno isn't great against Marowak, but it does actually do quite well with the confusions, and also Thunder Punch does actually harm the Marowak. So this team, as you can see, I'll do loads of mistakes, but it'll perform really well. So my opponent actually has a Noctowl, which unfortunately has been nerfed slightly because Sky Attack, even though it was trying to sort out Skarmory and Altaria, sadly it's actually hit the Sky Attack as well on the Noctowl, which isn't great. But I'm able to win switch there, and my opponent actually has a Wigglytuff, which is pretty good, because obviously if I lost switch, I would have had to you know, it would have been aligned incorrectly. So guys, I'm bringing my Hypno, and I'm just going to Thunder Punch this Wigglytuff. I did obviously overcharge a little bit, baiting the Shadow Ball, but obviously Shadow Ball would be resisted on the Wiggly. So my opponent does throw an Ice Beam. Obviously I'm going to shield because I need to keep my Hypno alive. And yeah, I should be able to get this through, but my opponent actually shields, which isn't great, but we actually simultaneously swap. So I was waiting for my opponent to swap, and I was able to get my Scrafty onto this Marowak. Scrafty has a pretty dominant matchup against Marowak, and thankfully Shadow Ball got a slight nerf. It was, I mean, people say it isn't OP. It's the fact that it can actually get to the move quickly, and it can spam the moves, and the defense drop was quite reliable. So I'm so glad. Guys, also I'll be bringing I think a Politoed video hopefully soon today. I am changing my schedule up a little bit because I don't get time to record in the evenings as much or consistently. So I'm back in the car. You might see this a little more, but the whole idea is to kind of produce content on a regular basis, and because of my job I can actually edit videos while I'm working, or while it's quiet, while I'm actually in the car. So this actually gives me a chance to record a video early morning and then get it out actually before the evening. So obviously I won the first game there, so this way at least you can actually watch the content at a reliable time. So onto a fantastic lead against the Toxicroak. So now obviously my opponent brings out Galarian Stunfisk. I'm going to switch out into my Scrafty, and Scrafty has a pretty dominant matchup against the Galarian Stunfisk. And you know, again, nerfs, Rock Slide going to do a little bit of difference. I mean, all these changes were really small. The move changes that probably were the biggest was, I think, Politoed getting Mudshot, and well, it already had Mudshot, and getting a Weather Ball, which charged up in faster than the Hydro Cannon on Swampert. So as you can see, I'm able to fast move that down. My opponent brings the Toxicroak back in, which is totally fine. It can farm me down, but I only had a little bit of farm left, and this Hypno is totally going to destroy this Toxicroak. I'm not going to shield anything because obviously this team is so bulky that you don't have to actually shield anything, and most of the time you can actually get away with quite a lot. So my opponent brings down Obstagoon, which isn't great because my Hypno will receive super effective damage, as well as it can't really charm it, confusion it down, and my Umbreon isn't going to appreciate the counters. Night Slash obviously is resisted, so if my opponent had Cross Chop, it'll do a little more damage, but I think he's trying to get the boost. Thankfully, he didn't get the boost. I did slightly overcharge this, so that was my biggest mistake there. So as you can see, the team will be really forgiving. You'll see me make tons of mistakes, and I'm able to actually kind of still capitalize on the win. But yeah, this is 2 sets I'll be showcasing today. I know I've had a complaint recently, I think on Reddit, where someone was saying whose team am I using today. I do try to use my own team's creations, and also use other content creators' teams, kind of try them out in the low leagues. I know I'm not that high at the moment. I did get to about 2500 MMR or ELO recently, and you know, I did get close to rank 10 before, so I have played on the higher league slightly. But again, we're not all the best people, we're not all the best trainers out there, so it's also about showcasing these strong teams in the lower leagues and how well they can actually be used to climb up. Because, you know, I'm not the best team builder out there, I'm not the best player out there, so it's good using other people's ideas and seeing how they work to your play style, because everybody's different. We all like to play differently, we all have different tactics, and we all make mistakes. So it's also about, you know, highlighting different teams that can actually work to your advantage. So as you can see, I was able to actually confusion it down, and it was a simultaneous KO. So another win there. Great game to my opponent. A little bit of a glitch happened there, but yeah, you know, editing videos there's always going to be something small. So again, saw a lot of Marowak leads yesterday. So not the great lead, not the best lead, but I do try to charge up to a Shadow Ball and try to catch it on my Umbreon. Thankfully, my opponent still throws, which is fine. I think he's going to try and get the defense drop with Shadowbone, and he isn't able to get it, which is brilliant, because, you know, that defense drop will hurt. And Azumarill, not the best matchup for Umbreon, because obviously Azumarill resists the foul plays, but the last results do kind of chip away, and because Umbreon's such a tank, it's just going to be able to get this Azumarill really low. And obviously I still got Hypno as well, so I'm not going to shield anything, even though my opponent probably most likely has Play Rough, which is fine. I could commit a shield and gain switch, but because I'm able to get to another fast move, my mistake was not clicking on the last resort, because that would have done a bit more damage. But like I said, this team is really forgiving, and I go back into my Hypno, and because I am able to get to this Thunder Punch quickly, I do throw it straight away. In retrospect, I could have actually farmed it down, because my opponent actually managed to get a sneaker bubble through and was able to get to a Play Rough. So this hurts. But like I said, Marowak is on the team as well, so I'm going to switch back out. And most likely my opponent has something that might be weak to the Scrafty. So the great thing about this team is, normally the meta is Azumarill and gfisk. Marowak is pretty much third place. This team can handle both of it, and it actually is Meganium. Meganium is starting to see popularity again in the higher elos, but Meganium has a decent matchup against Scrafty. I do obviously need to shield the Frenzy Plants. So as you can see, the great thing about this team again is that you have shields going into late game, which is really crucial. Because Umbreon is such a super tanky Pokemon, you don't have to worry about anything. And because I'm able to power my way through, I'm able to build up. And now because my opponent still has 2 shields, I need to get them off him. I do go for the Power Punch bait, knowing that he'll shield. And here I do go for another Power Punch bait. Realistically, I should have just gone for the Foul Play, because Foul Play, if it did go unshielded, if the bait didn't actually work, it would have KO'd, or most likely my opponent was going to shield because he was scared of getting a one-shot. I wasn't able to reach the next Foul Play, and this Bone Club will take me out. My opponent might have a little bit of resilience, so I had to be really careful. So it's a race to the charge move. Thankfully, I'm able to get to this Thunder Punch, and I was like, does this take it out? Does this take it out? But thankfully it does. So Hypno putting in work against the Marowak. So hopefully with these latest changes, Shadowbone gets used a little less. I mean, it is quite punishing. Again, top lead. Also like to see opponent brings out Hypno, and obviously I'm going to counter switch into my Umbreon. Umbreon has a really dominating matchup against Hypno, and because this Hypno isn't charging so much energy, I don't have to even worry about the Focus Blast. So I'm going to carry on overcharging, get to the Night Slash. So you will see me kind of make misplays in the sense that I do switch into the wrong Pokemon, or I do overcharge quite a bit, because it is possible with this team, and I'm able to get loads of energy. So the idea of this matchup is to kind of have an extra foul play / last resort ready to throw at your opponent, because the Machamp isn't going to appreciate it. And obviously I undercharge that as well, because I'm going to be able to farm down this Hypno from this range, and because Hypno can only throw Thunder Punches, it really won't make a difference to my Umbreon. My opponent realized that. I think he's already considered the match. As you can see there, I'm at full energy, and the champ comes in. I'm able to get this last resort off, and this will actually do quite a lot of damage if it goes unshielded. I've still got tons of health where I can actually reach another last resort. So Umbreon putting in a lot of work there, really well. I mean, I did invest Elite Charge TM into my Umbreon, because, you know, I missed out a couple of years of playing Pokemon Go, and, you know, all the best moves were still back there. So it is a worthy investment, and I've started using Umbreon a lot more in my teams because it's such a good generalist. It's an amazing Pokemon. If you have the chance to get it, I'd say get it, because it can do so much work, even against Pokemon like Galarian and Stunfisk. And you can see this team lines up really, really well. My opponent is shieldless. This is just going to be a field day. I'm not even going to bother shielding this. I think this is a 2 shield flex as well. So my opponent baits me with the Rock Slide, even better, puts me even further ahead. So I didn't even throw any moves there because I knew I could just counter down. There was no need, and here I just go straight for the foul play. This will do more damage, and it is quite a lot actually to the Shadow Machamp, even though it's literally resisted. But Shadow Machamp is fairly squishy, and here I don't even worry about shielding because, yeah, Shadow Machamp is going to be history. He's toast. He's gone. The confusions do so much damage. And yeah, 2 shield flex there, and I was able to actually get a 4 win streak. And you can see topped it off with Genesect, so I managed to get Genesect with actually rating, which is brilliant. So this team actually helped me climb back up again. Right now I'm kind of stuck in that elo hell where I'm going up a few and going down again, so I'm like 2300s. I need to kind of find my team to get me up into 2500. I think once you get to higher leagues, the meta becomes a bit more consistent. You can actually play to your advantage because you can actually anticipate certain teams, whereas right now it's a little bit kind of open, and you don't know exactly what to build or what to bring. So again, off to the worst lead possible in an Obstagoon. Obstagoon really hard counters my whole team, so thankfully he switches out into his own Shadow Victreebel, and again Shadow Victreebel got a slight nerf as well. Razor Leaf, even though it used to do 11 damage, now it does 10. It's a really minor nerf, but it will slowly make a difference. I mean, these trainers weren't that impactful in my opinion. They were pretty much just adding a little band-aid to what was wrong. The meta won't shift that much or that dramatically, but it will. Certain Pokemon will lose consistency, and games will be a little less close than they used to be. So I do have to come in with my Scrafty because my opponent has the Obstagoon, and I want to kind of bring it back. Most likely my opponent actually has a Bastard on the back as well, so these counters will do a lot. Even though I'm taking effective damage from the Obstagoon, I'm able to build up my own attack. So my opponent does cross shot, which thankfully I shielded. My opponent is shieldless, but he actually has a Alolan Sand Slash in the back, which is brilliant because now I can actually win this game. Obstagoon would have been like the worst thing to see, and if I didn't play that correctly, I would have lost the game just there, because Obstagoon, yeah, will have a field day with my team. So now on to the next game. On to another Alolan Marowak. Yeah, Alolan Marowak is really popular at the moment. It is a strong Pokemon. Shadowbone gave it so much consistency that it's unreal. I actually hate seeing it, to be honest. I used to like running Alolan Marowak quite a lot before with the Shadow Ball, and you know, it still wins. But I think I might start using it again because it might get a little less used due to the Shadow Ball nerf. But again, it's minor, so it might still be the same. I will still, I mean, I don't have Shadow Ball on my Alolan Marowak. I'm just going to use Shadow Ball, but I might just use it with Hex because Jellicent is the newest Pokemon in the Great League that will make quite a big impact, being a Ghost Water type. The Bubbles obviously has been nerfed slightly, so most likely we use Hex as well. So going Hex on my Alolan Marowak will actually give it a better matchup. So as you can see, my opponent doesn't have Play Rough. This makes this matchup a little better because I'm able to survive that Ice Beam and able to get this last resort off. So great. So my opponent is able to farm me down. If this was post nerfs, I might be able to get to a foul play. So you can see this team can actually perform really well. Obviously I had energy stored on my Pokemon. I'm definitely going to shield this because most likely it's going to be a Shadowbone, and it is, and I don't get the defense drop. Thank God for that, because it happens a lot. I'm able to farm down a little more, and now we'll switch out into my Scrafty. My opponent actually has a Galarian Stunfisk in the back, which is great because this gives me a chance to actually win this game. Even though I've got two back-to-back, almost two Thunder Punches ready, that will come in handy against the Alolan Marowak. And because this matchup is really dominant for my Scrafty, Earthquake will do quite a bit of damage, but he needs to get 2 earthquakes to take me out, and in that time I can basically power up punch my way through to victory. And my opponent actually has to throw energy. He has to throw energy at my Scrafty, because I'll be able to get to either a foul play before him, and he throws a bone club, which actually does take me out. But my opponent now is not able to get to the Shadow Bone, and he does have a shield, so thankfully overcharging a little bit before and saving energy on my Hypno is going to lead me to victory here. I think my opponent would have got to Shadow Bone on this fire spin or the next one, so yeah, crucial play there. Was able to play that correctly and actually get the win, so great game to my opponent, and well played. Now on to the next game. This was actually a really fun team to use as well, so if you guys are looking for a consistent team, to use it. So off to a bad lead in Melmel. Melmel, obviously being steel typing, is going to take resisted damage from confusions. I need to get to the Focus Blast, and most likely my opponent will shield that. Thunder Punches will actually do a little bit of damage, because obviously steel doesn't resist electric, but these rock slides are chipping away quite a lot onto this tanky Hypno. So thankfully the rock slide nerf will make a small difference. But yeah, I'm able to catch the rock slide onto my Umbreon. Perfect. That actually will help me win the game, because my opponent wasn't able to get a superpower off, because superpower would have done a bit more damage on the Umbreon. So here I'm going to go straight in Ice Slasher, because the last resort will be resisted and foul plays will do more damage. So my opponent actually has pretty much, like, he is one counter away from getting defeated. So my opponent should have thrown, I think he was trying to throw, but I was able to get a sneak and extra attack in. He does switch into his Azumarill now. So now the play obviously here is, as you can see, I overcharged again. Not great, and allowed bubbles to go through. So the misplays of me playing this team was I let a lot of fast moves go through. I should have done the fast move denial technique, but I was out of sync, so it was a bit difficult. So again, another bubble goes through. Not great for me, but I am able to get to this last resort, and I should be able to get to one more. But I do switch out because I've got so much energy on this Hypno, and I want to take this Azumarill out before it gets to the next charge move. And I'm able to obviously get to the next Thunder Punch. Great. So I had a lot of energy stored. I'm able to fully deplete that, and now this Hypno doesn't have too much farm, but because my opponent shielded and his final shield's gone, I'm going to come in with Scrafty, because I can just shield this and fully farm down this Azumarill and have loads of energy. It was actually a Hydro Pump, so great shield. My opponent does try to bring in his Melmetal because he might have had a superpower stored, which he probably did have a superpower stored, but my counter got through. My opponent switched at the wrong time, so the counter damage actually went to the Melmetal, so my opponent quit from there. So well played. On to the next game against an Azumarill lead. So Azumarill leads are pretty good for this team because of the Thunder Punch. My opponent actually brings out a Return Sableye. This matchup I wasn't really sure what to play. In hindsight, I should have probably just gone straight for my Scrafty. Reason being is because Scrafty has a worse matchup against Azumarill, and Return would do more damage to the Umbreon, whereas Return would be resisted on the Scrafty. So, and obviously Shadow Claws would be resisted too. So in future, I would obviously go into Scrafty. So that was my misplay here. Obviously foul plays are going to do quite a lot here, and will help me kind of convert this match back. I'm able to farm down the Sableye and get to a return here. Obviously Azumarill has this matchup, but I did obviously get switch back. That's going to help me a lot into aligning my Pokemon correctly, and I'm able to get to this last resort, but sadly my opponent CMP'd me to this, so which is fine. He did throw an Ice Beam, which I will survive because Umbreon is such a tank, and this will go through. My opponent will obviously get a chance to farm me down a little bit more, but he's just got two bubbles of energy, and because of that I'm able to get to the Thunder Punch. Well, my opponent actually got to a charge move before me, which is fine. I still got a shield. I will shield this. It is a player rough, so my opponent had quite a lot of energy stored. My opponent does a perfect swap and catches this Thunder Punch on the little Marowak, but because it's not resisted, it still does a fair amount of damage. I'm going to charge up a bit more energy, and because my opponent obviously locked his Marowak into my Scrafty, great. This matchup is basically mine, because Marowak, I mean Shadowbone, the technique here actually is to go Shadowbone against anything, even if it is resisted, because Shadowbone does a bit more damage than Bone Club, and it also gets a chance to do the defense drop, which is really important to win a matchup that you really aren't in favor of. Hence why Shadowbone is really broken, because the defense drop is the key factor of winning most games. So here I just go straight for the foul play because my opponent has had one more shield left, and I want to kind of bait the shield out, and I'm almost able to get to the foul play, but I wasn't actually able to get to it, which is fine because now this Azumarill is fully committed on energy, and my Hypno still has half health, which is fine. So I do farm down a little bit more, and I do have a Thunder Punch ready. In hindsight, I should have actually I should have farmed down the Azumarill completely, because that would have been the better play because it was energy dry. But my opponent just threw a Bone Club, so I did save the shield for that. So now this Thunder Punch almost will take it out. I think my opponent maybe had waited, probably wouldn't have got to the Shadowbone, but it was quite a close game there. So now on to the next game. So guys, if you do want me to make some teams, let me know in the bottom below. So this team, oh my god, looking back at it, I had the right team to win this game. It would have been a 5-0 set, but because I took so much damage from these weather balls, and I should have just gone for the Focus Blast here and then switched out into my Umbreon, because it would have drawn out the right Pokemon. But I take so much damage from these weather balls, and these Thunder Punches don't do anything to it. I've learnt my lesson not to throw Thunder Punches at Abomasnow, because even though Abomasnow isn't the tankiest, it can take these Thunder Punches really well. It doesn't do that much damage. Maybe if this was Shadow Hypno, it would have been better. And yeah, I'm able to farm it down, but my opponent actually brings out a Shiftry, which I should have swapped out immediately. This team has basically 2 Pokemon weak to counter, so if I switched that to my Umbreon initially, I would have brought out the Toxicroak, then I would have farmed Toxicroak down with my Hypno, so anything that came in, I would have been able to, most likely Shiftry would have come in. I could have just gone straight into my Scrafty, and Scrafty would have had a field day, would have enjoyed taking out 2 Pokemon with counters, but nope. You know, you can't win everything, so mistakes were made. But even though I'm trying to get the switch here, the Toxicroak is going to basically just destroy this Umbreon, because counters do so much damage. I mean, Last Resort does do quite a lot of damage, hence why my opponent shielded, so there was almost a chance to bring it back. But here I'm going to go in with Scrafty, trying to power my way up through, hopefully get enough damage on the Shiftry, but Shiftry was able to farm down my Hypno, so it had tons of energy built up, and because of that he's able to win. So if I had gone into a different Pokemon earlier, or switched out straight as soon as I saw Shiftry, I would have had a chance to win, because then Shiftry wouldn't have had so much farm to take my Scrafty out as well. So this game was really close. This team did phenomenally well. I really liked it. I'll highly recommend it. I'll be bringing my own team out today, hopefully, or by tomorrow. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the content and like the new changes coming, and hopefully I can get a video out every single day. So guys, thank you for watching. It's been fun, and yeah, take care and all the best with the refresh.